Today we're going to be talking about health and safety, in particular dynamic risk assessments. A dynamic risk assessment is one which is done on the day and includes reactions to events as they happen. We all dynamically risk assess all the time, including children. We do it naturally. For example, if a bottle was thrown over the railing and it landed in the playground and smashed, we would immediately move the children, cordon off the area, and ask the children to stay away. This is dynamically risk assessing in action. We always introduce the idea of a risk assessment to any new class. This not only helps them identify risks, but more importantly, what we can do about them.
So we need to think about our safety, okay? And that's the first thing we're going to look at this morning. It's all about safety, keeping us safe. Now, part of keeping ourselves safe is doing what we call a risk assessment. Does anybody know what a risk assessment is? No? Okay, brilliant. So, a risk assessment is basically us thinking about possible things that could go wrong and what we can do to stop that from happening.
When working outside with children, there are three main areas to focus on when assessing risk: the weather, the site, and the activity. You should always check the weather before you go out. Once you've checked that, you can then make sure that everyone's appropriately dressed, including you. Once you're outside, you can then run through this with the children.
So, if it was really, really icy here, what could go wrong? Come on, everybody must think, yeah? Yeah? You could slip. You could slip, couldn't you? So if it's really, really icy, what could we do to stop ourselves from slipping on the ice?
Then it's time to assess the site where the activity is going to take place. And a great opportunity to involve the children as we make sure that it's clean. Clean of litter, clear of trip hazards, and most importantly, clean of poo. The most common poo is cat and fox. That's a great lesson in itself. Children love looking around the site and will always help highlight any risks. It all helps them to take responsibility for their own safety, both in and out of school. The last thing to be assessed is the activity itself, to see whether or not it creates any additional risk. A brief conversation pointing out the risk before, and if necessary during the activity, is all that's needed as our dynamic risk assessment. Here, the children are taking part in a team game, using guttering. The ends of the guttering can be sharp, so we discussed this with the children beforehand. We reminded the children to hold the guttering upright, to stop anyone being hit as they turned round. All our plans have health and safety tips to help you. So if you haven't thought about it, we probably have. In addition to your ongoing risk assessment, it is essential you have a full risk-benefit assessment in place. For more information on risk-benefit, including a sample document, see our website. But the most important thing is not to let risk put you off, and that you can all enjoy being outside.